here I'm just sketching out my idea for my weaved stool. I have some offcuts that I am going to be using for this project. I'm doing this because I've never done this weave top before. This is a practice thing that I will be keeping, and I am making it shorter than typical to use it as a footstool rather than a full-on stool. So for the legs, I have an inch by inch dimensions by 11 and a half. Then for the sides, I have 3/4 by 3/4 by 14 and a half. Like I said, I am keeping this project and not selling it, so there would be a few things that I normally wouldn't do, but I'm doing, like not finishing it the proper way. Normally I would sand it and plane it smooth and have the wood looking a little bit nicer, but I am not focused on the wood. I am more focused on the concept of doing the weaved top. So I'll be focusing my time on the weaved top rather than my joints or the wood pieces. Then I have a little like kind of hook tenon design that I have, kind of a locking tenon for the top to slide the side pieces into the legs. I was having issues with my bandsaw not cutting properly. It was cutting really slowly, mainly because it wasn't lined up in the bearings properly, and it was starting to burn the wood. That is why I stopped when I did, and you can kind of see from the sawdust in some of the shots that the sawdust is very dark, and this is very light maple, so I knew that it was burning the wood. And from one of the side shots that I'll show later, you can actually see a little bit of smoke coming off of it. I ended up stopping and forgot to record my other cuts, so that was a mistake on my end for not recording the rest of the cuts, but hopefully by what I do in the future shots, you can kind of see what I've done. Right here, I'm just lining up my tape measure, or my square, making sure that it is 3/4 of an inch with my fence, so I can make my 3/4 of an inch cut for my side pieces. Double checking it again. Had to adjust the fence a little bit, and then checking it a second time, making sure that I actually get that measurement correct. Right here, you see me turning on the bandsaw, but I always have it unplugged just as a safety thing, and forgot to plug it back in when I was going to use it. So definitely a safety thing that I like to do. So I'm actually glad that I filmed this to show you guys what practices I have as safety features, and I like to unplug my pieces just so it doesn't accidentally get turned on. Once I have it plugged in, I set my piece on the table there, making sure I have it lined up with where I want it and how I want it laid out. You see me sitting on there and then pick it back up and change what orientation of the piece I wanted, because I wanted it in a different orientation of what I was going to previously, if I were to cut it. Here I'm just making the cut, and as you can tell, it is slow. The blade is not wanting to cut the piece, like I mentioned before. This was due to some dull teeth that I had on the blade from those bearings hitting the teeth, making the teeth dull. So I had to get a new blade and swapped out the blade and then forgot to film. Also adjusted the bearings where it wasn't hitting the teeth anymore. I think I mentioned it later down the lines. You can see this. You can start to see the smoke right here, and smoke kind of continues and really dark sawdust. And along with that side shot of seeing the smoke, you can also hear, I turned up the volume on that video so you can actually hear a little bit of that clicking that it's hitting the bearing, and also the squeaking that it's doing as I'm trying to almost force the piece through. I know I did not want to force the piece through, but I just wanted to see if I could cut a little bit more and if it would get better. But knowing what I was hearing, I was not expecting it to get any better. So that's why I stopped and readjusted the blade and fixed it. Test fitting before glue up. Got all these marked. I've got numbers on the sides, which line up numbers on. Got a 7 there. 7 there. So that would in turn go like that. Want to test fit before glue up, just making sure that everything can fit together. Just like that joint, I've got, not focusing, got 7, 7, 8, 8. Do that for all the other ones. And this is why we do test fits, because I put that in the wrong way and now it's tight to get out. Does not want to come out easily. That is much better. Still tight, but coming out easily on both sides. Got all 4 corners So what I have here is part of the stool that I've been working on. I've done a little bit of the weaving top for it. I have not done this before. This is why I was wanting to do it. And started off, I nailed in strand on the side, pretty much going up here, going up around the top, going under, coming up on the top on the corner, going back over on this corner on the initially went here, up under, over this corner, out through this side, under, over, under, over, under, over, and just repeating that process. Just this alone is 100 feet of paracord. Normally people would use burlap. I do not have burlap. I had extra paracord from other projects that I've done, and I did not realize how much paracord I would need for this. So this is 2 strands of 50 feet that I had left over from a project that I thought I was going to need to use more, but didn't. And I had to go out and buy more paracord. This is just proof of concept because I have not done this before and I wanted to learn how to do it. Obviously I would have finished the wood a lot nicer. These pieces I did not plane, I did not sand, I did not put finish on any of this wood. These 4 pieces are not planed, not sanded. They're pretty rough. Part of that is because they will be hidden by the strands, as you see there. As I was going on, continuing this, one thing that I probably would have paid more attention to is how tight these things are. Typically every 3 strands you would want to take a little wedge or something and really jam them together and make them as tight as possible. As you're working through this as well, as I'm pulling it around on the edges, going up underneath, pulling it as tight as I can, keeping that tension on there, which is why I have this clamp on this side to keep the tension on there for the strand that I'm going to add on to in a little bit. Like I said, I had 250 feet paracord, so 100 feet total. Cat in the background. We just got a new cat, so you might hear her. And I have a knot right here. That was from when I added the other cord. Just square knot, pull them together so they cinch up. Yeah, I'm gonna add the other paracord that I just bought and continue. I just grabbed the other strand, or other bundle. Now to make the knot. Pardon me as I fail. I know what I was doing wrong. I didn't overlap the pieces when I was doing my knots. You'd think doing paracord stuff I would know what I'm doing. Clearly I have my off days sometimes. Not the best place for a knot. Normally I would want it in the middle. In this scenario, I think I'm going to backtrack a little bit and put the knot here. Now I can take the clamp off and redo tension. Actually, let me go ahead and making this corner edge there, kind of on the side of the piece. Pull that tight with initially your fingers, having this piece in the middle, over, throw your extra paracord over, pull it tight, cinch it down tight, again scoot it over to other pieces on the other side, throw your piece under, over, making this corner tight. Then once you finish the corner, so I just went from this to here, under, over, under, over. Once you finish, I guess, this corner then this corner, you're going to jet over to this corner. Pretty much do the same thing. Every single time, once you go under, you're going to go through the piece and over. So, pretty repetitive. Pulling it tight, making sure that it's lined up and tight there. Throwing my stuff over, going back underneath, over underneath, over, underneath, pulling the tension, pulling tension, yes, it's a little annoying working with this much because it does tend to knot up every once in a while. I do need to actually coil it properly, but didn't want to spend the time of coiling it up when I just got it and am working with it. So, because I started here, and this is where the strand is now, I have completed a full rotation. I've continued, or when I started this, I had 15. There's 15 different strands on this right now. And I'm just going to continue on this. And we're back on the project. I did that strand of black that I was getting through, and I have so much excess from this strand, but don't have enough to go around to loop it the way I have been in order to get back to the starting point. That is why it's right here. I was wanting to put an accent color on it, thought that would be cool. I have a whole thing of orange that I was going to put, and then so kind of have a middle orange stripe kind of going in, and then resume the black for the middle. Obviously this is so much excess, but it's still usable excess, so I was going to cut it off and maybe use it for another smaller project later on, which it'll just go to my collection of offcut strands that I have from other projects and whatever else. Who knows, I might use this for keychains or bracelet. Don't think it's enough for a bracelet, but probably a keychain. I've fed the working end and stuff through these holes to kind of keep it in place, and then just wound the paracord around the ruler, and then just kind of been working around up and under and through, and makes it a lot easier than just trying to grab a whole bundle and tossing it through. Did that halfway through doing this black because I was just getting annoyed with it knotting up on myself, or knotting up on itself, and it was more annoying just to grab a whole bundle and try to feed it through rather than have something more condensed that you can just kind of fish through that way. Well, I will get back to you guys when I finish the orange. Thought I would give a little update on the orange. I've done 3 times around, all the way around the whole thing, and this is what I was looking at like right now. And just wanted to actually show you what I've been doing with the ruler. I've just woven back and forth along here. Obviously that loose end and what I'm working with, laying it over, going back underneath like that. Yeah, that's what I'm been doing, and every 3 strands or so I've been taking any sort of just straight edge or thicker straight edge and going to the edge and going along here and just kind of pushing it in, making sure that it's tight all the way along. Just kind of pushing it, making it sure that's perpendicular and not like way skewed off and stuff. So definitely wish I should have done this when I started. When I started it was a lot looser, and then I had got like maybe 8 or so in and then tried pushing that in, and the first few were not as tight as everything past that. But you know, you learn as you go. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I have the issues that I'm having, just because it's my first time and I wanted to learn how to do it. And hopefully in the future I can do better, and probably won't be using paracord since it is thicker and it's wanting to roll over on itself. I think that's the reason why people use burlap and other like wax cord and other types of cords, and not paracord, because paracord likes to wind up and then be a little difficult on itself. But that's the progress that I've been getting to so far. I think I've gotten through a little over half of this, so I'm expecting another 2 or 3 layers of the orange, and at least initially that's what I'm expecting. That might be wrong, who knows, but then I'll continue on with the black after I do the orange, and I will see you then. I was correct. I got 5, almost got 6, but I was working this around thinking I could get 6, and this right here, so going in this direction, that is where I would have tied off, that's where this is right now. I got to right here, which was really annoying because I needed to go back out and around just this one corner, and I couldn't make it. So quite a lot of excess, but like I said before, going in the scrap bin, use it for another project. Alright, so I've gotten down to the last bit. Hole's getting smaller, and have a lot of loose cord because I could not really get the big ball or ruler through this as easily as single paracord. And now I'm just going to be working at it, like feeding it through. Kind of a slow process, but you know, when you're working with a hole this small, can't really do what I was doing before as easily. here I am doing the final reveal of the stool. Showing kind of what I should have done differently. Obviously it's my first time doing the weaved top. Also, if I were to actually make a new one, I would have a different way of doing the legs and the sides. I wanted to just get this weave top done, so that's why I just did not do the best of quality that I normally do, but obviously this is more of going to be used and other stuff, so using it as a footstool, so don't really care the quality per se, for my practice piece and for something that we'll be using. Like I said, didn't really care much about the it'll focus. Why is it not focusing? There we go. Got the glue left over. Could just take a chisel and kind of cut that out in the future if I wanted to make it a little bit nicer. Still have pencil marks and stuff on the tops, and especially this corner had a little tear out. That was from a knot in the wood. That was nothing I could do. That got cut out that got chipped out when I was cutting it, and could not find the piece in the sawdust. So there's no real way for me to save that, at least this time. Normally I would, if something gets torn out by like a chisel work or something. Like I said, these sides were not planed before, so it's a little bit rough. I kind of sanded it down. Sanded the corners because that was a sharp edge and I didn't want it to cut away at the paracord. So I sanded down the corners and it was a little bit softer. Did the same thing, kind of ran it over the corners just so there's not a sharp edge. But actually full on planed. These a little bit nicer because these are what's exposed. Probably will be cleaning those up in the future. Some of the things that I learned as I was doing this is obviously pulling these tight. These first few, as you can kind of see, that's pretty loose right there. My first few were a lot looser than what I finished up. As you can see, those are a lot tighter. Also, with using paracord, I feel like it kind of bunched up a lot harder here, so I couldn't actually get something to wedge it down. Obviously, I could be a little bit tighter here, but still I was running into that issue of not having enough room. That is why there's a gap in the middle. So obviously using like burlap or something else would probably solve that issue of the paracord rolling over itself. Also, one thing I realized is my camera quit on me when I was finishing up, and I said I would show you guys the finishing knot, and I did the finishing knot, but my camera quit, so you guys didn't get to see the finishing knot. Pretty much all I did was, once I find where that knot is, oh, not right here. So I ended the strand on this side. I tucked this end up underneath these strands and then just did a knot around one of the, I kind of pulled the strand up, slipped the paracord under, and then tied it off on one of the under pieces. And as you can see, those are my other knots. There's a few more hidden. These were just the ones that were a little bit more exposed from when I added more cord. These ones were my last few, so that's why they're not as hidden as, I can feel one right here, but it's hidden by the cord. So, and I actually just completely cut the legs to size, and I have not needed to go back and readjust the legs, because normally, as you're, sorry guys, I just hit you. Normally there'd be a little bit of a rock to it, but there's no rock, and I was surprised that I got it pretty even the first time. One of the other things that was a mistake when I made this was I was making the cross pieces and I was cutting out the little groove for those, and I was thinking, oh, if I'm doing this groove and then this groove, I need to do on the legs portion, I need to do one groove and then one groove. That was not the case. I need to do groove groove instead of groove groove. So I cut both sides of the legs and had to cut off the bottom. So my initial plan was to do the 11.5 by 14.5. This is now 10.5 by, or this is 10.5. This one's still 14.5. So I cut an inch off because I did an inch depth of a cut. Yeah, that's about it. And I'll have a few last minute shots and some final words, and that's about it. Tater. Hi, Tater. Oh, you want to flip over? Okay. Hi, Tater. Like I said, we got a cat, and this is Tater. She'll probably be in some videos, maybe. She loves her tree and loves cuddles and stuff. She's very vocal, too. You probably heard her meow in the background. Tater. Tater. Where are you going? Tater. She's just a really sweet, calm cat, but also loves to play every once in a while, too. Very vocal. She's not being vocal right now, which I'm surprised. But Tater, you gonna talk to the people? No? You just have no words right now? Yeah? You want your rope now? Is that your rope? Huh? There was some excess rope that I had that I gutted the inside of, and it's just the outer shell. And she's completely claimed it. She was wanting to play with it. So this is her rope now. Well, I will leave you guys and continue playing with her. Tater. 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 What you doing? What you doing? Huh? Being a good kitty? Don't fall off. You're gonna say bye to the people? Tater, say bye to the people. Thank you all for watching. There was a lot of learning that went into this. Learning how to film, learning all the different angles that I wanted to use, and learning audio stuff with the different cameras, trying to get the best quality of audio for different things, all the editing that went into the video stuff as well. This is my first time doing a YouTube channel, so I'm also learning the YouTube side of things, and there's just been a lot of learning. And along with this project, there was the learning of doing the weaved top, and it was not the best thing. I'll admit that. It was my first time. I'm obviously learning. I would definitely do it in the future, and I would adapt some of the things that I did from what I've learned and all that stuff. And I probably wouldn't use paracord again. I would probably use something else. And even with using something else, there might be a learning curve with that as well. So you might see that on a future video, along with all the other projects that I have in mind. There's many things that I want to do but don't really know how to do. So there's a lot of learning that will go into this YouTube channel. That's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to make this YouTube channel, because I wanted to show you guys kind of what I'm learning as I'm doing this, and also teaching you guys if any of you guys want to do any of this woodworking stuff. I'm sure most of you guys have hand saws and all that stuff, so maybe as I'm showing you how to do certain things, I might occasionally grab my hand saws or different types of saws or different tools that you guys may or may not have. But what my goal in this channel is, based on the tools that I have, try to see if any of you guys want to try any of this stuff out for yourself with the tools you have. Can you do this? I don't have a router right now, so if I were to make a groove in any wood pieces, I would have to do that by hand with a chisel, cut it out with a handsaw, or if it's a smaller piece, kind of do it with the bandsaw that I have. I'm creating this channel as a teaching thing, and also for my personal just kind of learning as well, videoing a lot of this stuff so I can refer back to it. And I also just wanted to have the enjoyment of filming and kind of dabble into that realm of things, because I've never done that before. So I've actually had a lot of fun editing the videos that I've taken and learning that editing side of things that I've never done before. Also, with this project, learning the weaved top. I've never done that before. I had fun with it. I've done other paracord stuff. I've done other like bracelets and everything else, and I wanted to kind of learn something similar, but also something that I haven't fully done. And there's obviously a bunch of things that I've learned from this project that I'll adapt to not just this project, but other projects as well. And that goes for this entire project. There's many things that I learned about filming. There's many things that I learned about editing. There's many things that I learned about my bandsaw. I had issues with my bandsaw, so I just recently got this bandsaw, and I'm still adjusting all the bearings. I'm still adjusting the way it works and stuff. So there's many things that I'm learning as I'm going about this, and I guess just that learning aspect is what I was wanting to do. So that's why I made this YouTube channel, and I thank you guys for bearing with me for my first video. I'll probably be better the next few videos. I definitely learned a lot about camera angles and other editing stuff, and hopefully audio will be better for some parts. I kind of learned that if I used my phone for a video, the audio wasn't as great. When I'm using my camera audio is actually pretty great. Using my GoPro, it really depends whether or not, if there's background noise or not. Sometimes it doesn't pick up the audio quite as well, or it's not as clear. Where the placement of my equipment is and the microphone attached to it. There's a bunch of setting stuff that I still need to learn in the editing software that I'm using. So there's a bunch of learning that goes into this, and I know I've said it multiple times. That's why I am doing this YouTube channel is I want to learn a lot of new skills. I do have a plan to show past projects in the future, pictures and stuff, and if I have that piece that I've worked on, I'll show the physical thing as well in video form rather than pictures. There's some things that I've given off to family members and other friends that I don't have the physical thing, so I'll have to show pictures and explain. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what the future entails for this YouTube channel and all the things that I will learn, and the growth of not only this channel but the growth of my skills, the growth of you guys if you want to partake in some of these projects and kind of learn from what I'm doing and go about it yourself. So this channel is definitely a learning on my part and also a learning on your part if you guys want to go about doing these projects. So thank you guys for watching, and I will hopefully see you guys in a week. I plan to post weekly, but obviously there might be some projects that will take longer and I can't post every week. So I'm hoping to have smaller projects here and there that I'll actually regularly post, and the longer projects will obviously be prolonged a little bit, but I plan to post weekly. Let's see how that goes. Next few projects I have a mallet that I'm working on. I've done other mallets in the past, so I'm very familiar with doing the mallet. I've got some coasters that I'm doing. Obviously, I started a bunch of this stuff before winter break, that I wasn't filming anything. I just started filming after winter break once I got back. And so there's a bunch of stuff that I've already done that I in the middle of the project. So sorry that you guys are kind of picking it up midway through the project, but it is what it is. I'll try to explain all the things that I previously have done. Yeah, so I've got the coasters, I've got the mallet, I'm doing a tabletop vise that I'm doing right now. May or may not film that depending on, it's just a big project and I don't have the best room for setting up a camera that will capture the entire thing, so might have a little issue filming that, so I may or may not film that. I've also got a jewelry tray kind of ring mount thing that I'm doing for Sarah, my wife. She was wanting something on the side table with the bed to stick her rings on and stuff, and she wanted me to make something for her. So those are kind of the projects that I have planned out. I will leave you guys to it, and I need to sharpen chisels before the next project, so working on that. This has been Jeremiah with Bullfrog Woodworking Edge. If you've liked what you've seen, consider subscribing, and you can keep up to date for new content.